My sister begged me to help her family just until tax season. I paid their rent, their internet, even their kids' tuition. $19,300 later, I asked her when she'd pay me back. She said, "That's between you and God now." I was furious. But then I saw her husband at a gas station in a custom-wrapped Jeep that said Boss Life. I called the school. The tuition had been paid with a business credit card in my name. I've reported the fraud, froze the account, and I'm taking them to court. She just sent me a prayer emoji. I'm not the type to blast family drama online, but this has been eating at me. I need to get it out somewhere, because if I don't, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm 41. I live in Corpus Christi, Texas. Been here most of my life. I've always been the one in the family that people leaned on. I paid my way through college, got a good job, paid off my house early. No kids, no husband, just me. Steady. My younger sister, Marissa, is 38. She took a different road. She married young to a guy named Deshaun. At first, everyone thought he was decent. He worked construction back then. After the kids came, 3 in total, things changed. Deshaun bounced from job to job. Marissa stayed home. Bills piled up. Eviction notices came and went. Every couple years it was some new emergency. But I loved my nieces and nephew. I couldn't stand the thought of them going without. And even though I tried to put up boundaries, somehow I always ended up being the one pulling them out of holes they dug themselves into. Last November, a week before Thanksgiving, Marissa called me. She was crying so hard she could barely speak. Said they were behind on rent. Said their internet was getting shut off. Said the kids might have to move schools. Please, just help us through tax season. Just until February. We'll pay you back as soon as the refund hits. I swear to you. I was standing in the canned goods aisle at HB, trying to buy green beans for Thanksgiving, and my sister was breaking down over the phone. I told her I'd think about it. Of course, I thought about it all night. And of course, the next morning I said yes. At first it was just rent, $1,450 a month. Then it was their internet bill, $120 a month. Then they needed groceries. Then it was the kids' shoes, Christmas presents, gas money for Deshaun to get to work. Then in January, Marissa called again. Kylie got accepted into Trinity Christian Academy. It's a blessing. We just need help with the tuition. It's only $4,300 for the semester. After that, we're good. We'll have the refund by February. I didn't want to do it. I really didn't. But Kylie's smart. She deserved better than the broken public schools around here. So I paid it. To make things easier, I let Marissa use my backup credit card, with strict instructions it was only for tuition. Biggest mistake of my life. February came. Then March. Every time I asked about the refund, it was a new excuse. IRS is slow this year. Deshaun's boss messed up his W-2. We gotta fix some paperwork. We'll get it next week. Meanwhile, I was watching my own savings drain away. I kept a spreadsheet. By mid-March, I had spent $19,300 on them. Finally, I told Marissa we needed to talk face-to-face. We met at a Chili's. I laid it all out. The rent, the bills, the tuition, the extras. I even printed out a list. I need a repayment plan. I'm not a bank. Marissa didn't even look embarrassed. She stirred her sweet tea, smiled, and said, "That's between you and God now." I just sat there. I couldn't speak. She patted my hand, like she was the one comforting me, and changed the subject to Kylie's upcoming cheer competition. I left before I caused a scene. I sat in my car in the parking lot, gripping the steering wheel, staring at nothing, feeling something inside me crack. 2 days later, I pulled into a Shell station to fill up. That's when I saw it. A bright red Jeep Wrangler with huge tires, shiny rims, custom wrap job. Across the sides, in gold cursive letters, Boss Life music was blasting out the windows. And who steps out? Deshaun. Fresh Jordans. Gold chain. Gucci belt. Acting like he was the mayor of Corpus. I ducked down in my seat and just watched. Watched him swagger into the store, buy his Red Bull and Swishers, count out a thick roll of cash. The rage I felt, it wasn't hot. It was cold. Ice cold. I took photos. License plate. The wrap. Him holding cash. I sat there for an hour after he drove away. That night, something told me to call Kylie's school. Just to check. I asked if the tuition had been paid by check like I instructed. The receptionist hesitated. It was paid with a business credit card. Under your name, ma'am. I nearly dropped the phone. I went straight to my laptop. Pulled up my credit card account. Thousands of dollars in charges. Best Buy, Foot Locker, a nail salon, an electronics store, car detailing, a day spa, all while Marissa was telling me they were barely surviving. Turns out, Marissa had added herself as an authorized user on my backup card. She'd been using it for months. I called the bank, reported the fraud, froze the card immediately, filed a police report. Next morning, I called my lawyer. We're suing them for the $19,300 in direct support, unauthorized use of the card, damages and penalties for fraud because Marissa used the card to pay for business expenses like the tuition. It might even qualify as wire fraud. That's a federal crime. I gathered every receipt, every text, every bank statement. When the sheriff showed up at Marissa's house with the papers, she didn't even come to the door. She peeked out the blinds, then sent me a text, just a single prayer hands emoji. Folded hands, nothing else. No apology. No explanation. No shame. Deshaun posted on Facebook the next day, "Real bosses don't explain themselves. Haters stay mad." I'm not even mad anymore. I'm past it. I'm in that place where you feel nothing but a deep, cold, patient anger. The kind that builds court cases. The kind that wins. After I filed the fraud claim and froze the credit card, things started happening fast. First, my bank called. They flagged over $11,000 in suspicious purchases. Turns out, Marissa and Deshaun didn't just buy shoes and spa days. They leased furniture. They threw a birthday party at an event center. They even ordered a bounce house rental, all charged to me. The kicker? They tried to apply for a personal loan using my name and my social security number. That's when I realized this wasn't just desperate parents trying to survive. This was planned. This was theft. I updated my police report. My lawyer added identity theft to the lawsuit. The deputy who took my second statement, a guy named Deputy Morales, was shaking his head the whole time. Family or not, they knew exactly what they were doing. Don't feel guilty. I didn't. Not anymore. But the rail bomb dropped 2 weeks later. I got a call from a woman named Jessica, who introduced herself as an investigator for a company called Sunline Financing. She said my name was tied to a fraudulent car loan for a 2024 Jeep Wrangler. Guess whose Jeep? Yep. Deshaun's Boss Life Jeep. Marissa and Deshaun had used my personal info to secure a $58,000 auto loan. I never saw a penny of it. Never even knew about it. And now, because the loan was unpaid, my credit score had dropped 127 points in 3 months. I sat there on the phone, shaking. Jessica told me Sunline was already starting a fraud investigation. I filed a second police report, then a third. At this point, I had a whole file folder thicker than a Bible. Meanwhile, Marissa kept posting positive vibes only memes on Facebook. Quotes about faith over fear. Pictures of beach vacations. Hashtags like #blessed and #grind mode. Deshaun posted selfies of him grinding in the Jeep, drinking expensive coffee, flashing watches. All while my lawyer filed a civil lawsuit and pushed for criminal charges. But it didn't stop there. A few days later, I got a certified letter from Trinity Christian Academy. It said Kylie had been expelled. Why? because they discovered that Marissa had been using fake pay stubs and fake bank statements to qualify for financial aid. Kylie had no idea. The school had no choice. When I called the principal, he was heartbroken. "We love Kylie, but we can't allow this. It's a matter of integrity." It killed me. Kylie didn't deserve that. But it wasn't my fault. It was Marissa and Deshawn's fault. They dragged their own daughter down with them. I didn't even reach out. I didn't want to hear another prayer emoji or excuse. By now, word had gotten around town. Marissa's friends started peeling away. Deshawn's business partners, who mostly sold knockoff sneakers out of trunks, ghosted him. But Marissa? She doubled down. She told our parents that I had set her up, that I had ruined her life out of jealousy, that I had always hated seeing her happy. My mom called me, crying. "Maybe you could just let it go. It's family." No, not this time. You don't get to rob someone blind, ruin their credit, commit fraud in their name, and then cry family when the bill comes due. Not anymore. And then, it got worse. Much worse. The day after my mom called me to just let it go, I got served again. Not me suing them, they were suing me. Marissa and Deshawn filed a lawsuit against me for emotional distress and defamation. I sat there holding the papers, shaking with rage. Their claim? I lied about the fraud. I slandered them by telling people they stole. I caused undue emotional trauma to their family. They were asking for $50,000 in damages. It was a joke, a pathetic, desperate counterattack, but it still meant I had to lawyer up harder. My attorney, Mr. Sandoval, looked furious when he read it. "They're trying to paint you as the villain. They're hoping you'll panic and drop the real lawsuit." I wasn't panicking. I was doubling down. The same day, I authorized Mr. Sandoval to move forward with a criminal fraud complaint. Not just civil court anymore, criminal charges. If the county picked it up, Marissa and Deshawn could face up to 10 years in prison. It felt heavy. It felt awful. But it felt right. That weekend, my doorbell rang. It was Marissa. She stood there, looking rough, no makeup, hair messy, face tight. She was holding a baby blanket, Kylie's, when she was born. Without a word, she shoved it into my hands. "You really want to destroy your own family?" she hissed. I didn't say anything. I closed the door in her face. She screamed and kicked my door loud enough for the neighbors to hear before storming off to her busted-up Honda. The Jeep? Gone. Repoed 3 days earlier. More things started to unravel fast. 1. Deshawn's little business selling sneakers got raided. Turns out he was selling counterfeit goods. Feds seized his inventory. 2. Marissa's bank accounts got frozen by court order. They had no access to their money, what little was left. 3. CPS showed up at their house. An anonymous tip, not from me, but maybe from the school, reported neglect. Apparently, the electricity had been cut off, and the kids were living without heat or internet. One night, I got a text. It was from Kylie. Just 2 words, "I'm sorry." That broke me, because none of this was Kylie's fault. She's 14. She deserved better parents. She deserved a better life. But I couldn't save her by letting her parents get away with it. I texted back. "It's not your fault. I love you. Always." She didn't answer after that. I heard through a neighbor that Marissa packed up and moved into a cheap apartment across town. No more big house. No more private school. No more boss life. Deshawn, last I heard, was living with some girl he met through Instagram. And Marissa? She was trying to sell Avon products and waist trainers on Facebook Live. Still posting about trusting God's plan while begging people to join her success team. But it wasn't over. Not even close. Because when the county prosecutor looked through the evidence we handed over, all the texts, all the screenshots, all the bank documents, they decided to pursue formal criminal charges. Forgery. Fraudulent use of identifying information. Wire fraud. credit card abuse. 4 felonies. Marissa was arrested at her apartment at 7:15 a.m. on a Tuesday. Still in pajamas. Still clinging to her fake positivity. The local paper ran a tiny blurb. Local woman charged with multiple counts of fraud in $80,000 scheme. No names. But everyone around town knew. My phone blew up. Old friends, coworkers, even distant cousins, everyone had something to say. I can't believe she'd do that to you. We always knew Deshawn was bad news. You're so strong. I didn't feel strong. I felt tired. Tired of being used. Tired of being lied to. Tired of carrying guilt that didn't belong to me. After Marissa's arrest, things got quiet for a little while. Too quiet. I figured Deshawn would lay low, maybe finally take some accountability. Maybe move away, start fresh. But no. 2 weeks later, my cousin Raymond called me, furious. Turns out, Deshawn was telling everyone that I had entrapped them. That I had plotted the whole thing to steal Marissa's kids. She always hated Marissa being the favorite, Deshawn said, loud enough for a whole bar to hear. She's jealous. Bitter. Couldn't stand seeing us winning. Winning? They were broke, jobless, facing prison. And yet somehow, in Deshawn's twisted mind, I was the villain. It didn't stop there. One morning, I woke up to spray paint across my garage door. Jealous bitch, it was sloppy. Red paint dripping everywhere. I called the cops immediately. They couldn't prove it was Deshawn, no cameras, no witnesses, but I knew. The next day, I put up security cameras all around my property. I wasn't playing games anymore. Meanwhile, Marissa's lawyer started reaching out. Trying to negotiate. Trying to settle. Their offer? Marissa would plead guilty to a misdemeanor. Pay me back $5,000 out of the $80,000. Serve 30 days house arrest. My lawyer laughed when he read the letter. Not a chance. They dug this hole. Let them lie in it. We rejected the offer. We were pushing for full restitution and real jail time. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. There's a difference. One night, I sat in my living room, drinking cold coffee, just staring at the wall. Thinking about everything. How it started with a simple phone call. A sister crying for help. A few $1,000s here and there. Now it had burned my credit, eaten my savings, shattered my family, dragged my name through the mud. And it all boiled down to greed. Not need. Not desperation. Greed. They had money for a custom Jeep. Money for designer shoes. Money for Red Bulls and bounce houses. But not a single dollar to pay me back. And now? Now they were paying lawyers with money they didn't have, trying to twist the story into something it wasn't. Trying to paint me as the monster. Meanwhile, their kids were the real victims. Kylie, the oldest, stopped going to school altogether for a while. I heard from a friend of a friend she was staying with a classmate's family some nights, anything to get out of that apartment. Their youngest, Sienna, only 5 years old, started showing up at church with no jacket, no lunch. People were talking. But Marissa kept posting Instagram selfies like nothing was wrong. Filters, hashtags, fake smiles. Like she thought if she posted enough sunshine, nobody would notice the storm raging behind her. Then came the final twist before the court date. A detective called me. He had news. Turns out, Deshawn had been using another woman's credit cards too. Another woman he met through Instagram. Another woman he promised to build a business with. He had a whole side hustle, finding lonely, struggling women, sweet-talking them into handing over money, then vanishing. There were at least 3 more victims. And they were all willing to testify. Not just against Deshawn. Against Marissa too, because in every case, Marissa helped him clean up the accounts. Changing passwords. Shredding documents. Lying to banks. The case just exploded into something bigger than I ever expected. It wasn't just family betrayal now. It was organized fraud. By the time the court date came around, the case had snowballed into something way bigger than a simple family dispute. 5 victims. Over $200,000 stolen. 2 separate counties filed charges. When Marissa showed up to court that morning, she looked nothing like the sister I grew up with. Her hair was flat and stringy, dark circles under her eyes. Wearing a faded, too big sweater that swallowed her whole. Deshaun swaggered in behind her like he still thought he could talk his way out of it. But not this time. The prosecutor laid it all out, piece by piece. Fake pay stubs, fraudulent credit card applications, stolen tuition payments, unauthorized car loan, multiple victims, multiple crimes. When the prosecutor showed the photos of the Boss Life Jeep and Deshaun smiling with piles of cash, Marissa crumbled. She started crying right there at the defense table. But it was too late. Way too late. When it was my turn to speak, to give my victim impact statement, I stood up. My hands were shaking, but I made myself look her right in the eye. "You didn't just steal my money," I said. "You stole my trust. You stole my peace. You used my love against me. And you did it without shame." Marissa looked down at her lap. Deshaun smirked like it was all a big joke. I kept going. "I'll recover from this. I'll rebuild. But you? You'll have to live every day knowing you destroyed your own life. Your own family." I could see the jury nodding. They got it. They understood. In the end, the sentence came down hard. Deshaun, 7 years in prison, full restitution to all victims. Marissa, for years in prison, ordered to pay me $80,000 in damages, 5 years probation, after release 500 hours community service. The judge didn't hold back. You had every opportunity to do the right thing. Instead, you chose to manipulate, to steal, to lie. Now you'll live with the consequences. When the bailiff cuffed them both right there in the courtroom, Marissa started sobbing loud, ugly sobs that echoed off the walls. Deshaun didn't even flinch. As they let her out, she looked back at me one last time. Not with anger. Not even with hatred. With something worse, fear. Like she finally understood that there was no miracle coming. No God's plan to rescue her. No prayer hands emoji to undo it. This was real. And she did it to herself. It's been 6 months now. My credit is slowly repairing. The lawsuit money is coming piece by piece. I got a new card, new security measures, and a new understanding. Family doesn't mean immunity. Love doesn't mean blind trust. I still miss the sister I thought I had. But I don't miss the person she became. And when I drive by that Shell station, past where Deshaun once rolled up in his Boss Life Jeep, I smile. Because I know now, the real boss life isn't built on lies. It's built on standing up for yourself, no matter who you have to stand against. Even if it's your own blood.